God says that right now, in this very moment, something sacred is unfolding around you, something you didn't see, something you weren't prepared for, yet something heaven has prepared for gently, carefully, and lovingly. God says they've discovered something about you, something not fearful, something not harmful, but something so deeply important for your soul's journey that delaying even a moment would cause you to miss the depth of the blessing waiting to be revealed. God says open your heart quickly, stop scrolling, pause everything, because this word is not a coincidence. It did not show up to fill space. It was sent to fill a place inside you that has been empty for years. God says this message is arriving at the exact second it was destined to reach you because heaven does not deliver late messages. Heaven delivers right-on-time miracles. And right now, even if you do not see it, even if you do not feel it, something is shifting in the invisible realm in your favor. God says nothing will go wrong with you. You are safe. You are protected. You are held. You are watched over. You are surrounded by divine light. You may have walked through storms that others couldn't imagine, but those storms did not break you, they shaped you. They prepared you for the moment you are living in now. God says they've discovered something about your heart, that even when you were tired, even when you felt alone, even when you felt overlooked, you kept your goodness. You kept love inside you. You kept compassion. You kept faith, even when it was shaking in your hands. God says your heart is the reason heaven is moving so powerfully around you today. God says the truth is, you've been carrying a burden you never fully spoke about. You've smiled while hurting. You've encouraged others while needing encouragement yourself. You've held everything together even when it felt like you were falling apart inside. God says they see that. They see what you never said. They see what you hid behind your strength. They see what you felt at night when no one was around. And now heaven is shifting things for you because you deserve rest. Clarity, peace, and breakthrough. God says what they discovered about you is not something bad. It's something beautiful, something rare. They discovered your resilience, your honesty, your purity of intention, your ability to love even after being wounded. God says your soul has been fighting battles silently, and heaven is rewarding you openly. God says every tear you cried, every moment you felt abandoned, every time you wondered if your prayers were even heard, none of it was ignored. Not a single moment was wasted. God says this message is reaching you today because your spirit has been calling out for a sign, a direction, a confirmation, something to hold on to, something that tells you you're not alone. Something that tells you you're not forgotten. God says you are not forgotten, you are favored. You are chosen. You are protected. You are guided. You are important. You are needed. You are seen. And you are deeply loved. God says they've discovered something about your future, something that will lift the weight off your shoulders. something that will restore hope inside you, something that will give you strength again. For too long, you've been trying to figure out everything by yourself. You've been analyzing, overthinking, worrying, planning, questioning, doubting. You've been trying to fix situations that were never meant to be fixed by human hands. God says release it. Let heaven take over. Because some things are meant to stay beyond your control so that you learn how to trust divine timing more than your own fear. God says what's coming for you next will not require struggle. It will not require stress. It will not require begging. It will not require losing yourself. It will come peacefully, naturally, beautifully, because it is aligned with who you truly are. God says they've discovered that you are ready for the blessing you prayed for. You may not feel ready, but your spirit is ready. Your soul is ready. Your destiny is ready. God says you've finally reached the season where things begin to unfold without you having to push them, force them, or chase them. They will flow to you. God says the reason this message needed urgency is because you've been doubting yourself at the exact moment when heaven was preparing to elevate you. You've been questioning your worth at the moment when your worth is being recognized from above. You've been assuming the worst outcomes while God has already written the best ones. God says stop fearing the future is holding blessings you cannot lose. Stop fearing betrayal, heaven is surrounding you with divine protection. Stop fearing failure, God says you are stepping into a season where failure cannot touch you. God says they've discovered something about your destiny, it's larger than you think. It's greater than your past. It's deeper than your pain. It's more expansive than your doubts. You've been living beneath your calling because life discouraged you, but God says it's time for you to rise again. Your spirit is waking up. Your gifts are waking up. Your purpose is waking up. God says the world has not seen the best version of you yet, but they will. God says you often underestimate yourself because life conditioned you to expect disappointment. But God says disappointment does not define you, divine appointment does. You have a role to play on earth that no one else can play. You have a light that no one else can produce. You have a presence that impacts others in ways you don't even know. People have been blessed by you in moments you didn't even realize you were giving them strength. God says they've discovered how powerful your soul truly is, and now it's time for you to discover it too. God says they've seen the times you walked away from situations that were draining you. You didn't stay where you weren't valued. You didn't cling to what hurt you. You didn't allow darkness to dim your spirit. Even when you felt weak, you still chose the path of truth. God says this is why blessings are being aligned for you right now. Because you didn't compromise your soul to fit into places that weren't meant for you. God says what they discovered is this: you are entering a divine unfolding. A destiny awakening. A spiritual expansion. Your heart is opening, your path is clearing, and your next chapter is aligning. God says the delays you experienced were not punishments, they were preparations. The rejections were not failures, they were protections. The unanswered prayers were not abandonment, they were divine timing. God says they've discovered how much you've grown, how much you've learned, how much you've survived, how much you've healed. And they are proud of you. God says your courage did not go unnoticed. Your prayers did not vanish into the air. Your hopes did not disappear. Everything you've whispered to God in the quiet moments has been heard. Heaven has been listening even during the moments you thought no one understood you. God says they've discovered a strength inside you that many people never recognized. But heaven recognized it. You are stronger than your past. Stronger than your heartbreak. Stronger than your fears. Stronger than your doubts. And God says the world will soon see the strength you've been carrying quietly. God says what you're walking into next is a season of answers. Answers to prayers you thought were forgotten. Answers to questions that kept you awake at night. Answers to mysteries that have surrounded your life for years. God says clarity is coming. Peace is coming. Relief is coming. Breakthrough is coming. You will not have to chase what is meant for you, it will find you. God says they've discovered that your spirit is ready to receive what it once was afraid to ask for. You used to pray small because you were afraid of disappointment. But now your faith is growing again. Your heart is opening again. Your confidence is rising again. God says you will step into blessings that match the size of your spirit, not the size of your fear. God says you've been walking toward a door that has your name on it, a door no one else can open, and a door no one else can close. And the closer you get, the more distractions, doubts, and delays try to hinder you. But God says nothing can stop a door heaven built. This door is opening for you softly, gently, powerfully. And when it opens, it will make sense why every other door stayed closed. God says they've discovered the truth about your journey. You were never walking alone. Even when you felt abandoned, heaven walked beside you. Even when you felt lost, divine guidance led you. Even when you felt weak, angels stood guard around you. Even now, you are surrounded by divine presence, comforting you, guiding you, and lifting you. God says something sacred is getting ready to enter your life. Something pure. Something peaceful. Something transformative. Something that reminds you that God has never forgotten you, never ignored you, never left you. God says they've discovered something about your spirit. It is ready to receive joy again. God says this word will change you because it is awakening something inside you. Something that has been dormant for too long. Something that has been waiting for permission to shine again. God says your spirit is coming back to life. Your dreams are coming back to life. Your hope is coming back to life. And nothing can stop the restoration that God is sending your way. God says trust Him. Pray to Him. Surrender to Him. You are safe. You are protected. Nothing will go wrong with you. Heaven is moving, and you are the one being lifted, and God says, this is your moment. Grab it. Honor it. Receive it. Let it enter your heart. Your blessing is already on its way, Archangel Michael says. God says they've discovered something about you. And you need to hear this. Open it quickly, stop scrolling, because this word will change you forever, and as this message arrives for you in this moment, a gentle but powerful wave of divine energy begins to move around you, surrounding your heart, calming your breath, and reminding your soul that you are not alone, that you have been guided here for a reason that is far beyond coincidence. This is not random, this is not accidental, and this is not something you should ignore. Sometimes a message arrives exactly when your spirit is tired, when your heart is confused, when your path feels heavy, and when the world seems louder than your inner voice, and suddenly God speaks through a sign. Through a whisper, through an unexpected message like this one, and He says, listen now, because something important has been revealed, something that involves you, something that heaven has been waiting to show you. Archangel Michael stands beside you as you read this, not in anger, not in fear, but in deep, strong, protective love. His presence is calming, steady, patient, and filled with a quiet urgency. He says that you have been walking through a season where answers felt far away, where truth was hidden, and where you kept asking, God, what is really happening around me? Why do I feel something but can't see it clearly? Little did you know, heaven has been watching very closely. Heaven has been studying the movements around your life, the intentions of people near you, the decisions made behind your back, and the words spoken when you weren't present. They thought you would never know. They thought you would continue in the dark. But God says the time of confusion is ending, and the time of clarity is beginning right now. This is why Michael says, open it quickly, because there is something heaven has uncovered, not to frighten you, but to free you. Not to shake you, but to protect you. Not to make you worried, but to make you stronger, wiser, and fully aware of the path ahead. God says that recently, something hidden came to the surface, something that was never meant for your eyes but was always meant for your growth. And now heaven wants you to know the truth. You have been on the edge of a breakthrough, but also on the edge of being misunderstood, underestimated, and misjudged by people who did not understand your heart. Yet God never let that misunderstanding define you. He never allowed someone else's mistake to replace His truth about you. Heaven has discovered something about your destiny, something powerful. They have seen the strength inside you, the resilience inside you, the faith that refuses to break even when your heart feels exhausted. They have seen how many times you could have given up but didn't, how many moments you were tempted to walk away but stayed, how many nights you cried but still whispered, God, I trust you. That trust, that loyalty, that faithfulness has not gone unnoticed. God says that a spiritual record has been kept, a heavenly observation of everything you endured, everything you overcame, and everything you stayed faithful to even when no one was watching. But that is not the only discovery. God says that there are people around you, in your past, in your present, or even silently in your surroundings, who were surprised by your strength. They analyzed your life, but they misunderstood one thing: they thought your quietness was weakness. They thought your innocence was naivety. They thought your kindness meant you were unaware. But heaven has discovered what you sometimes forget: you are spiritually sharp, divinely protected, and guided by intuition that comes from God Himself. That is why you felt certain things without proof. That is why your spirit became uncomfortable around certain people without a clear reason. That is why you were pulled away from some connections, some conversations, some environments, because your soul sensed what your eyes could not see. Michael says, God discovered the truth before you did. And now God is revealing it to you gently. There are blessings with your name that have been delayed only because someone tried to create confusion around your energy. Someone doubted you. Someone misjudged you. Someone underestimated what God placed inside you. But God says those delays are ending because nothing can block what heaven has already stamped as yours. The discovery heaven made is not meant to expose your weakness, it is meant to highlight your destiny. You are stepping into a season where the truth will speak louder than assumptions, where your character will rise above the noise, where your heart will shine brighter than shadows, and where every wrong impression about you will dissolve by divine light. This message comes with a sense of urgency, not because something bad is coming, but because something good is about to begin. God says that the shift will be sudden. You will wake up one day and realize why certain things didn't work out. You will understand why certain doors stayed closed. You will see clearly why God removed certain people even when you wanted them to stay. You will realize it was all protection, not rejection. It was redirection, not punishment. It was preparation, not loss. Michael says that heaven has discovered the truth about your spirit. You carry a rare purity, a rare strength, and a rare resilience that makes you a vessel of miracles. This is why the enemy tried to distract you. This is why unexpected challenges appeared. This is why certain people behaved strangely around you. They sensed something they could not explain. They felt something they could not name. They recognized that there is a light around you that is not normal, not common, not ordinary. And instead of supporting you, some were intimidated by it. But God says your light is not meant to be hidden. Not meant to be dimmed, not meant to be controlled. It is meant to shine, to expand, to illuminate the path ahead. This is why heaven is speaking urgently today. The discovery they made about you is this: you are entering a spiritually significant time. You are walking into a divine realignment where everything that was hidden becomes clear. You are stepping into a phase where your intuition becomes stronger, your path becomes clearer, your blessings come closer, and your emotions become lighter. You are not losing anything, you are gaining clarity. You are gaining peace. You are gaining protection. You are gaining divine positioning. God says something else has been discovered, the truth about your purpose. You are not behind. You are not late. You are not forgotten. You are exactly where you need to be for the next door to open. The waiting you experienced was not punishment, it was preparation. It was heaven aligning things behind the scenes, organizing circumstances, rearranging situations, and removing obstacles. Something that once confused you will soon make perfect sense. Something that once made you cry will one day make you grateful. Something that once broke your heart will later become the reason your spirit becomes unshakable. Archangel Michael stands over your life like a shield, reminding you that nothing will go wrong with you, that you are safe, protected, and surrounded by divine strength. He says that anxiety is lifting, that spiritual heaviness is breaking, that hidden burdens are dissolving, and that your soul is being renewed. You may not see everything changing at once, but it is happening. Even right now, as you read this, heaven is moving things in your favor. God says the discovery they made about you will bring blessings, not worries. It will bring clarity, not confusion. It will bring peace, not pressure. You are stepping into a chapter where your heart will breathe again, where your spirit will rise again, and where your hope will return stronger than ever. You are not walking into darkness, you are walking into revelation. You are not stepping into danger, you are stepping into purpose. You are not entering uncertainty, you are entering divine timing. You are safe. You are chosen. You are protected. You are guided. And nothing, absolutely nothing, will go wrong with you as long as you trust God and keep your spirit open to His guidance. Keep praying. Keep trusting. Keep listening. Because heaven has more to show you, and the best part of your story is just beginning. God says this message is reaching you at the exact second it was meant to arrive, because heaven has been preparing your heart for what is about to be revealed. You have been wondering, why does it feel like something is shifting around you, something unseen, something that is calling your spirit even when your mind is tired? God says it is because they have discovered something about you in the spiritual world. Something that your own soul has known since the day you were born, something sacred and powerful that you were never meant to run from. But life has distracted you, pain has exhausted you, and the world has tried to bury you under burdens that were never yours to carry. Yet even in the moments you nearly gave up, heaven did not give up on you. God says that this word will change you, because it is the word that was formed in the beginning before your story even started, and now it is being delivered directly to your spirit so nothing and no one can block it anymore. God says they have discovered that you are not ordinary. You are not random. You are not forgotten. You are not invisible. You are not lost. You are not behind. You are not late. You are not a mistake. You are not cursed. You are not abandoned. You are not alone. You are chosen, and heaven has known this from the beginning, but the world tried to make you forget. But God says the discovery about you is that you were spiritually marked for a divine turning point long before anyone knew your name. If you believe me, type Amen. God says you must listen right now because this moment is not an accident. Your eyes did not reach these words by chance, and your heart did not feel this pull without purpose. God says they have discovered something about you, something that has been hidden for a long time, and it is finally rising into the light in a way you cannot ignore anymore. God says stop scrolling, breathe, and hear Him. He wants you to know that nothing will go wrong with you. You are safe. You are protected. But you must open your spirit for what He is revealing, because this message will change the direction of your next steps, the weight in your chest, the patterns in your life, and the story you thought you were living. God says the truth that is coming to you right now has been waiting for your soul to be ready, and now heaven says you are finally ready. God says the discovery that has been made about you is not something small or ordinary. It is something that explains the reason behind your pain, the reason behind your delays, the reason behind the sudden heaviness you could not explain. God says someone, somewhere, has recently realized something about your identity, your destiny, and your spiritual authority, and this discovery has created a shift in the unseen world around you. God says you have been carrying something that is not visible to the human eye but unmistakable to the spiritual realm. Your presence carries a mark of divine favor that cannot be copied, cannot be bought, and cannot be blocked. This discovery is the reason heaven rushed to speak to you now. This discovery is the reason your spirit feels this message so deeply. God says someone has seen something about you that even you did not see in yourself, and now the time has come for you to understand what they realized. God says they discovered your light. They discovered your calling. They discovered your resilience. They discovered your destiny. They discovered your spiritual inheritance. And God says the moment they discovered it, your life entered a new timeline, one where nothing hidden will remain hidden, nothing stolen will remain stolen, and nothing assigned against you will survive. God says this is the turning moment you prayed for, even on nights when you did not have the strength to pray with words. God heard the prayers of your heart, the prayers of your silence, the prayers of your tears, the prayers of your exhaustion, and the prayers you whispered not expecting answers. God says this message is an answer to all of it at once. God says someone discovered your worth at the exact moment you were doubting your value. They discovered your strength at the exact moment you felt tired. They discovered your purity at the exact moment you felt misunderstood. They discovered your loyalty at the exact moment you felt forgotten. God says what they discovered is that you are chosen in ways that the world cannot explain. You are not ordinary. You never were. But you tried to shrink yourself so the world would be comfortable, and heaven says those days are over. God says the world is about to adjust to you, not the other way around. God says stop scrolling because this message is not just a moment of comfort, it is a moment of awakening. Heaven is pulling you into remembrance of who you are. God says you have been walking through days that felt heavy, confusing, and uncertain, but even in those moments, your spirit stayed soft. Your heart stayed kind. Your faith stayed alive even when you were tired. God says that is why the discovery happened. Someone realized you are not like the others. Someone realized your strength is not loud but powerful. Someone realized your silence carries wisdom. Someone realized your pain carries purpose. Someone realized your presence carries healing. God says this discovery changes everything about the next phase of your life. God says they discovered the truth about your destiny. They discovered that you are marked for something greater than what you've experienced so far. They discovered that the trials you went through were not signs of weakness but signs of preparation. God says they discovered the crown He placed on your spirit, a crown that no circumstance, no delay, no confusion can remove. God says the crown is still there, shining over you even on the days you feel broken. And now that this truth is rising, God says your life is about to shift in ways that will feel sudden to you but were scheduled long ago in His divine time. God says your season of doubt is ending. Your season of waiting is closing. Your season of suffering in silence is dissolving. God says the discovery made about you is not just by people, it is by heaven itself. Angels have been watching you with admiration. Heaven has been observing your endurance. God says you survived things that were meant to break you, and because you survived, your spiritual authority increased in ways you cannot yet imagine. God says this is why the discovery is divine. Heaven has recognized your endurance. Heaven has recognized your loyalty to goodness. Heaven has recognized your willingness to rise again every time life pushed you down. God says this is why this message had to reach you at this exact time, because your moment of recognition has arrived. God says what was hidden from you is now being revealed. The truth about your path is being unveiled layer by layer. What you did not understand is becoming clear. God says the confusion that surrounded your life recently was not because you were lost, but because heaven was rearranging the pieces behind the scenes. God says someone discovered the truth about your heart and your destiny, and this discovery caused a ripple effect that is now aligning your future. Nothing is out of order. Nothing is delayed. Nothing is wrong. God says everything is shifting toward you. Everything is turning for your good. Everything is unfolding in your favor. God says you are safe. Nothing will go wrong with you. You are protected even when you cannot see it. Heaven has placed guardians around you. Your steps are being watched closely by divine presence. God says trust Him. Trust His timing. Trust His protection. Trust His voice. The pull you feel right now is not fear, it is awakening. It is your spirit responding to truth. It is your soul remembering things your mind forgot. God says the reason you felt spiritually sensitive lately is because heaven has been whispering your name more frequently. God says someone discovered your purpose, and when they did, the spiritual realm opened around you. You may have felt it as sudden intuition, sudden internal heaviness followed by lightness, sudden dreams, sudden thoughts that felt like messages. God says those were not coincidences. Those were signs. God says your next chapter requires your awareness. It requires your faith. It requires your willingness to let go of the old story about yourself. God says you have been living too small for too long, and now the truth is emerging with divine urgency. God says the discovery made about you is that you are a chosen vessel for something bigger, something purer, something that carries generational impact. God says your presence has been noticed by forces that operate both in the physical and the spiritual. But heaven says do not fear. Nothing wrong will happen to you. Your path is guarded. Your purpose is protected. God says your heart is more powerful than you realize. Your compassion is not weakness, it is a spiritual key. Your sensitivity is not a flaw. It is divine equipment. Your intuition is not imagination, it is a heavenly signal. God says they discovered this about you. They discovered that when you love deeply, and that kind of love is rare. When you give sincerely, and that kind of generosity is sacred. When you trust fully, and that makes your trust valuable. God says your presence brings calm to people who pretend they don't need it. Your energy brings clarity to people who don't understand why they feel safer around you. God says they discovered this about you, and that is why this message found you today. God says the truth that has been discovered is connected to your spiritual identity. You were born with a rare purpose, and life tried many times to make you forget it. But God says you always rise back into alignment even when life pushes you off balance. God says this discovery marks the beginning of your life shifting in ways that reflect your true identity. The right people will be drawn to you. Right opportunities will open for you. Hidden support will surface. Unexpected blessings will arrive. God says this is the beginning of your awakening. God says you must stop scrolling because this message is not a general message. It is a direct message, a guided message, a chosen message prepared specifically for you. God says you were meant to hear this at the exact second your eyes reached these words. Nothing about this moment is random. Nothing about this timing is accidental. Heaven chose now. Heaven chose today. Heaven chose this moment because your life is standing at a threshold, and the next steps you take are critical to the divine elevation prepared for you. God says your soul has been whispering for clarity, and this message is that clarity. God says they discovered your destiny, and now you must step into it. God says nothing will go wrong. You are safe. You are protected. Trust Him. Hold His hand. Pray to Him. Listen to His voice through the peace in your heart. God says the discovery made about you is a holy one, a powerful one, a life-changing one. And now that the truth is rising, heaven says your transformation begins. God says this word is being delivered to you in a moment that looks ordinary but is not ordinary at all. You were scrolling without knowing that heaven was preparing a divine interruption, a moment where the atmosphere around you becomes still because a message is descending straight to your soul. God says they have discovered something about you, something you have been unaware of, something hidden behind the scenes, something that has been waiting to reach your ears, and this message is arriving now because the time has finally come. God says stop scrolling, stop doubting, stop wondering why this moment feels different, because this is the moment He ordained. Even if your heart is tired, even if your life feels stuck, even if you've been battling silent storms with no voice beside you, God says this word will change you, lift you, hold you, and reveal what has been concealed for too long. God says you have been walking through days that felt heavy, nights that felt endless, and moments where you questioned your worth, your path, and your purpose. But heaven has been watching you the entire time, and the discovery made about you is not something to fear. It is something that heaven celebrates, something the angels whisper about, something that Archangel Michael has stood guard over because your spirit carries a brilliance you do not yet fully understand. God says your heart is not weak, it is chosen. Your journey is not random, it is divine. What they discovered about you is not a mistake. It is a revelation of your spiritual identity that has been hidden behind your pain, behind your struggles, behind your trials. God says they discovered that your resilience is not human but supernatural. You have survived things meant to break you, moments designed to crush you, people who tried to dim your light, situations that were supposed to silence you forever. And yet, here you are, breathing, standing, rising again and again, even when your heart was tired of rising. God says heaven has observed your battles, your tears, your prayers whispered in the middle of silence. And every tear you thought nobody saw was recorded in heaven's book. They discovered that even when you felt abandoned, your soul kept calling out to God, and every call was heard. God says they discovered the truth behind why your life has felt so different, why your journey has felt so lonely at times, why you have had to carry burdens that others cannot comprehend. It is because you were marked, chosen, and set apart. You were given a spiritual assignment that required strength, patience, and loyalty to the divine path. The storms you faced were not punishments, they were preparations. The delays you endured were not denials, they were alignments. The heartbreaks you experienced were not failures. They were redirections toward what is meant to bless you. God says this message comes to you now because the atmosphere around your life is shifting, the spiritual environment surrounding you is transforming, and something new is unfolding, something heaven has been waiting to reveal. They discovered that your soul carries a capacity for greatness that you yourself cannot see. They discovered that the very moments you thought were breaking you were actually shaping you. They discovered that your inner strength has reached a point where God can now release the blessings that were held back until this moment. This is why you are being called to stop scrolling and receive this message fully. Because what is happening inside you right now is a divine awakening. God says you are safe. You are protected. You are not walking alone. Heaven is not far, heaven is closer than your breath. Archangel Michael stands near you at this very moment, ensuring that no harm, no negativity, no dark intention, no hidden plan against you will succeed. You are covered, shielded, secured by divine authority. This is why God says, rest assured, nothing will go wrong with you. Even when circumstances look uncertain, even when you feel lost, even when your heart wavers, God says He has already arranged your protection. Nothing formed against you will reach its destination. God says what they discovered about you goes even deeper. They have discovered your true spiritual authority. You have a calling inside you that you have underestimated. You have power in your words, strength in your presence, and light in your spirit. You are not someone who is meant to simply survive. You are someone meant to transform environments, shift energies, break generational barriers, and bring healing to places where others have only brought hurt. You carry an anointing that others sensed but did not understand. This is why some people resisted you, some misunderstood you, some grew jealous of you. They could feel your destiny even when you did not know it yourself. God says the discovery made about you has awakened something in the spiritual realm. Doors that were closed are beginning to unlock. Opportunities that were delayed are preparing to reach you. Blessings that were held in waiting are moving toward you faster than before. Miracles that were scheduled for later have been moved into this season. God says this is your time to rise, to receive, to step into what He designed for you. You have been patient long enough. You have been faithful long enough. You have been strong long enough. Now the divine reward begins. God says this message will change you because it is not simply words, it is a spiritual activation. Something inside you will shift as you read this. Something inside you will awaken. Something inside you will rise from where it has been sleeping. The doubt that once held you will lose power. The fear that once controlled you will dissolve. The confusion that clouded your spirit will clear. God says light is entering your life in a way that will touch every hidden corner of your soul. You were never forgotten. You were never unseen. You were never unloved. God says the discovery they made about you includes something else. Your name has been spoken in places it has never entered. Heaven has placed your name before blessings, before breakthroughs, before people who will help elevate your journey. You have been spiritually recognized. You have been spiritually chosen. Your name carries favor now. Your name carries promise now. Your name carries divine authority now. This is why God says trust Him. He knows where He is taking you. He knows what He is building for you. He knows what He is protecting you